Bitcoiners, I hope you're doing well. I'm loving my life. Who could complain on a day like today? Who could complain? Things are going great. Things are going great. I got to wait and see who's coming in here. We got people showing up, but where's my live chat? That's what I wanted. People, listen up. Hold on. Let's see what Sluggo is saying. Sluggo says, people, listen up. You must listen to this podcast with a fantastic guy, Devin Erickson. I'll check that out. Sci-fi culture decentralization. Guys, I have a new sci-fi book coming out called Blue Moon Orange Coin. So we always love sci-fi stuff. We definitely still have more of Satoshi Wedding Murders to release, but I'm going hard on the Bitcoin sci-fi stuff, right? We are entering an age of mysticism and fun, so we got to do it. So Blue Moon Orange Coin, I think it's the best one I've written. So you're all going to like it. And this one's a little bit different, so I can do the video audio book thing that I did for Satoshi, but I don't have to use an AI voiceover. So that's kind of why that thing I didn't keep doing those. It was kind of an experiment, and I couldn't get the audio of the machine to sound coherent as I continued last summer. So this one I can do on my own, and it will be great. Jevy, good morning. Jevy showed up late yesterday, just in time for the space drop stuff. I've been out pushing space drops as punishment the past couple of days. Again, we love it. P-Man, good morning all. Good morning, P-Man. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing great. Christine, glad you made it, Christine. Glad you made it. He says, Bitcoin Deb, good morning. Here you are. Indeed, wherever you are, there you are. Right? I'm here. Good morning, hope you're doing well. Moran says, no sun here yet. Behind the line. Oregon coast. We love Oregon. We love Oregon. Assalam, Coinbase shenanigans foreshadowing order 6102. That's what some people are saying, aren't they, Muslim Bitcoiner? No good. No good. Matt Fry. Good morning. Good morning. Stacks, sats. Best advice you'll hear all day. Best advice you'll hear all day. All right, let's acknowledge that the sun is up. We got a maximum sunrise. Bitcoin is running without any trouble. Let's have a coffee and talk about what's new. Are you guys ready for Moscow time? All right, let me just try something here. I still can't explain why I can't do screen shares with this. They got buttons, they got the stuff that says you're supposed to be able to do it. I even put it. Let's see. Does it create? There, that's better. Okay. I just hit the screen share button and nothing. It just never works. It just never works. Can I do, just out of curiosity? No. Nope. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I can't explain it, everyone. I can't explain it. Let me just see if before I do Moscow time. So my plan here, guys, is I would like to start clipping Moscow time, like cutting it and then sending it out as like a 2 or 3 minute short video. Bitcoin Deb says, keep freezing and says reconnecting. Okay, my connection is good. I wonder if that has something to do with me trying to share a screen in the past few minutes. Keeps freezing. Okay. +1. I wonder if Hassan, and now it's not letting me see this. Jeez. Okay. So let me know if things are coming in on the YouTube, as Bitcoin Deb has warned us that we're getting a bit of a reconnecting, maybe something with the API. See, so it is, okay, something's going wrong. Okay, let me see what's up. Let me see. Internet is in and out. 4x already. My internet should be good. I think what just happened is here. Let me actually go to solo. I'm not getting your notifications. Hasn't happened for 5 minutes or so. Same. Okay. I believe that I just fixed it. I'm assuming the problem was the presentation setting that I had it on, but I'm unsure. YouTube good now. Yeah, I think something was going on with when I click screen share. I think there was something going on that the other problem with this thing, guys, is that I can't actually test this stuff offline. It doesn't there isn't even the capacity to screen share when you're in well, let me explain this. So most of the streaming software has, I guess, like a wings. If you think of theater or a green room, you're in the studio, but you're not live yet. So you can like check your makeup and I don't wear makeup, but you know what I mean. So this one doesn't have that. It's like go live and then a 5-second countdown start. Or whatever, you're live and you can get it set. You're not live, but you can get the studio set up and then go live. That it doesn't have that option here. So I can't practice it not live. So that's why I'm struggling. There are quite a few problems with the new tech. Yeah, but I'm willing to support it. And I want Rumble. Oh yeah, it's reconnecting. The screen goes green. 3x already. I think you're probably a little behind Bitcoin Graffiti. It's happening again. Snap, it just started again when you said just fixed it. Jesus. Jeez. I expect more problems than it is. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just see. The internet connection is fine. Still flaky. Yikes. Okay. Very short bumps, 2 seconds. Very short burps, 2 seconds max. Reconnecting twice, 3 times now. Keep going green screen. Yep. I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, because one of the things I'm trying to do is get a good quality Moscow time so that as I think some of these Moscow times would go good as a little 2 or 3 minute highlight video if I did that every day. And that's why I want to do the screen shares, because I think screen shares would make it a little bit funny. I've got a sweet picture of Letitia today, the Titsy and Fanny, right? Looking especially cross-eyed. So I needed that. I wanted to share the especially cross-eyed look. Screen turn green. Rumble Studio take a couple streams. I'm going to proceed. I don't think we're going to get a mint copy of Moscow time today in order to do it, but I'm not going to make you wait any longer. Wait, I can't make you wait. It's too good. I have one of the best ones I've ever. This was a user shared one from this morning. All right, you ready? Moscow time. Border crisis, right? You got too many people. We got too many people coming into America, right? Everyone's talking about that. And then on with our food. The food is tainted, right? So the food is tainted, right? And we got too many people. New scientist has an idea. Ready? Is it time for a more subtle view on the ultimate taboo? Cannibalism. It's time for a more subtle view, guys. I agree. It's time. New scientist. Thank you, scientists, for promoting cannibalism in this time of need. Right? America, tainted food supply, got a lot of extra people. Maybe they don't have to eat the bugs, guys. Maybe they're going to get saved from the bugs. Amazing news, right? This is from the New York Post. Amazon driver fends off attack from drunk, naked NYC migrant and ends up in cuffs. It's perfect. Right? We love New York City. It's amazing. This one's great, right? Big news. New York Post again. COVID vaccines linked to slight increases in heart, brain, and blood disorders. Your blood, who cares? Your brain, big deal. You got a lot of brain cells, right? Heart, you only got one, but it's fine. It's fine. It's just a couple problems. This one's great. Canada. Canada. Where? I don't need to put this into Moscow time, right? But we know they're the dumbest people in the world, right? We can all agree. And they're surprised about this, okay? This is a headline in the CBC News today, right? $350 billion in pandemic savings was supposed to give the economy a huge boost. It still hasn't happened. Savings stockpile won't help avoid a recession or help many Canadians squeezed by inflation. Wah, wah, poor Canadians. This one's awesome too. Blinken, my favorite guy. Right? We got the Blinken, we got the Yellen, and we got the Biden, right? And Blinken had some advice here. Right? Secretary of State urged staffers to avoid problematic terms like manpower and mother and father. Very problematic, right? Jeez. Oh, we got some good stuff from Phil Bump this morning too. Phil Bump came up with 3 articles. Man, when he gets going, I think he's tapping into some AI. He's really got a high volume coming out, right? And here's 2 of them that I chose. This is one on Biden. Guys, all right, Phil Bump says there's an obvious reason why Biden isn't dropping out of the race. It's obvious, right? The reason he ends up giving is because the economy, it's the economy, right? Because he expects the economy to be so good after April. So Phil says that's why he's not dropping out. He's going to deliver that. Not to be confused with Bidenism. It's not the same thing, right? Bidenism is anti-globalism and Bidenomics is other stuff. Here's another one by... It looks like Bump got a bit triggered by the shoes, right? Trump shoes, the golden shoes. And here he says, Trump used to sell the perception of opulence. Now he just... When Phil does this, he does his old mind reading, right? He's one of the best mind readers ever. That's how he gets the 3 articles a day, because people don't really know his brain or anyone's brain. That's Phil Bump's main thing, right? Bump can enter Trump's brain, right? And here's what he says. A Trump can to eat an elegant steak in an upscale New York hotel while smelling faintly of success. Success was a perfume Trump or a cologne Trump had before. Here's what he says. Instead, it's the sort of person who thinks buying defiance to America's institutions of power. Wow, Phil. I'm so glad you know. Meanwhile, right, things are going swimmingly for Trump. This is from ABC News, right? Letitia James Trump's buildings if he can't pay his $354 million civil fraud. Well, they're going to take his buildings. Trump Tower gone. Now, in other news, but Moscow time, but it is too. You can also consider it Moscow time. Breaking news: bad commercial real estate, not the ones that Trump is going to get seized. Those are good ones. Bad commercial real estate loans have overtaken loss reserves at the biggest United States bank. Losses in commercial real estate are larger than all of their deposits. That's okay. It's totally fine, guys. It's work. Perfect in fiat land. Now, today we're talking about the old axiom that we all know: money talks. Listen to the money talk. One of the best, right? I was at the SARS COVID concert that AC/DC performed at in Toronto. 100 Timberlake, and they had AC/DC at Sunset. And I just happened upon the video the other day. Someone was sharing it, and I remember being there. It was Canadians would get together and do a free concert to help Toronto. If Toronto asked for help today, I don't think I'd be driving down and saying, let's go to a free concert. Kind of the thing, right? Money does talk, and the money that the US dollar propagates is actually just spreading mental illness now. And we're going to talk it and the inability for anyone to cling to the US dollar and the architecture of deceit around it and propagate forward into time. And seen in this idea of, bankrupting Trump and what's going on and persuasion, old John Stewart, right? He was the big plan. Remember we talked about John we talked about the trouble he had the other day trying to do both sidism, right? It didn't go well when he tried to criticize Biden, right? The world has changed a lot. That his desire to talk about both sides wasn't going to go well. So he's already kind of adapted. And he did a piece yesterday on Moscow, right? So he's like, Tucker went on about how the subways are nice and they have food in the grocery stores. And Jon Stewart trick, I'm not sure if he fell for it or tried it. He tried to do the thing where he said it's the literal cost of freedom to have a country, right? But he forgot to mention, right? And he said, oh, well, Navalny died, and then Navalny had all these people protesting his. Found out later that they were given a small fine and let out of prison the same day. Not sure if Jon Stewart mentioned the 1,300 Americans that are. So the idea, again, that Bukele was the first to articulate that America can no longer use this about democracy and about the cost of freedom and the cost of all this stuff, right? He says it's the literal price of freedom that we have shitty subways and violence on our streets, right? Anything but what it is. These guys are trying to tell you it's news that Russia is a dictatorship or totalitarian or whatever you want to call it, like a police state or what. But they act like it's news, and people who are siding with it didn't know. Like it's a new. Oh, what? Putin? What? He locks up opponents? I didn't know that, right? Now, all of this comes in the context of the Attorney General of New York saying she's going to take Trump's buildings. They're going to seize his property, right? Now, a lot of people bringing up that this actually looks like what happened in prescription at the end of Rome. This is what happened at the end of the Roman Empire. When politicians lost power, they also lost their physical property. They lost buildings, they lost houses, they lost their slaves, they lost everything, right? There was always economic retribution. And this was one of the things that helped precipitate the end of the Roman era. And Justinian Code, by the way, it's called Justinian Code. What's left of the Roman law, we call it Justinian law. I guess Justine was one of the big emperors, and a lot of what Napoleon codified in Napoleonic Code came from the old Roman times. Prescription and proscription are one of them, right? That's one of the things that's still in our laws today. That's why if you squat in a house, you can get ownership. This comes from a long time ago in that era when you could do that, and everyone was squatting property because everyone was leaving and the taxes were so high. So that form of law still is with us today. It hasn't gone away, which is incredible. But now, you think of what's going on with Trump and seizing his property, and then put that in the context again of persuasion and who's on which side and who's being persuasive. Well, you can already see that yesterday, for example, you had Tucker Carlson getting interviewed about all this stuff with Jon Stewart and everything. People are asking him, what's going on? The Russia trip? Were you duped? Were you fooled? So he also mentioned in this interview that he asked Boris Johnson for an interview. And what did Boris Johnson say to him? Right? Because Boris Johnson was named by Putin in the thing, saying that he came over and screwed the peace deal with Zelensky. Of this you'll ever see, right? He started attacking Tucker, and all these things. And usually it's easier to deny things if it's true that you didn't do it. If you start doing ad hominem, kind of a, if it's really true, but if I would to judge, I'd say Boris did go and scuttle the peace deal according to many witnesses, and his denial of it was basically confirmation that it's true. So Tucker, yes, wants to get him on the record to follow up with the Putin interview. And what did he say? Yeah, for $1 million in Bitcoin. So even Boris is starting to see there's something else there. And Ansel Linder says years ago, drugs with it, it's not money. I believe that from the beginning. That was one of my quotes as well. If you look at my fun bio that I keep on myself, it was that's what I say. When I realized you could buy drugs with it, you could do many other things. That's when I sort of put my whole life into Bitcoin. So he says that was Bitcoin circa 2014. So Andreas saying that. 10 years later, except bribes in it, it's not money, right? And that's what Boris was saying here. Now, is it a bribe? Not really a bribe, but it's what he's thinking and what he's at center, right? Let me just see if the connection issue still, huh? Fuck. Better now. Okay. Connection is FE. YouTube and Rumble. Cutting out, brother. Every 10 seconds. Jeez. Having issues with screen share. He's aware. Reconnecting. Fuck. Buggy every 10 seconds, huh? Okay, let me see what the answer to this is, guys. I fucking hate technical problems. I hate it. So I can't actually concentrate. I know what you're saying. Just keep going. I can't do it. I can't. It's something in my brain doesn't let me do it. Boris Johnson ransomware attacking Tucker for BTC. Yeah, he did it. Didn't want British pounds. No, he didn't. Didn't see that coming. Yeah. Reconnecting again. Okay. All right. Geez, with the other one, I have just a more sense of how to manipulate it. This one I can't really figure out too well. You know what I'm going to do? Okay. It might all end, and then I'll find a way to get back on. But hold on. I'm just going to hit reload the page. All right. Let's see how this goes. All right. Now it's fine. I lost all of your chats when I did that. I'm back online. It says we're still live. So that's good. But my internet is fine. I've checked the internet a few times, and it's the internet here in Barbados is actually excellent, extremely fast, fiber and blah blah blah. So let me just see, just to make sure. Maybe it's a secular problem, as in just today. No, I'm crushing it. I'm at that's fine. Like, I mean, that's just download, but upload will be plenty strong. Yeah, that's my upload. So there is no internet trouble. That's upload. So we're doing fine. Seems fine now. Okay, could have just been that. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Okay. So you get the what Ansel said about if heads of state don't accept it, it's not money, right? And again, when I think of the word, just the concept, money talks. I have family over, but they're not using the internet. They're not using the internet. They're already down at the beach. So when you think of money talks and what's going on, and its ability to persuade, and that's vital, right? If fiat, which is word-based money, literally government words, government declarations is a fiat. If fiat money based on government declarations can't persuade anymore, we can measure it. You can actually see it. You can actually see the lack of persuasion. And Cernovich puts it perfectly, right? Saying the regime has raw power and it's willing to abuse it. It's lost moral legitimacy and soft power. Look at every discussion of Navalny. It falls flat. Money for Ukraine? Where's our border? Issue is that without legitimacy, people stop cooperating. It's a delicate system. And that's why when you think of things like Trump saying yesterday, right, he did a town hall last night with Laura Ingraham and all of the broken brain, mental illness people, especially the conservatives, right, the old neocon people. Look at this guy. His name is Heath Mayo. So Heath Mayo, right, says the following. He goes, on Navalny, Trump says it's happening in our country too. No, it isn't, right? He says, no, it isn't. The US is better than Putin's Russia. And if you can't see that, you don't really understand America. Infuriating, he says. I don't get how any red-blooded American can sit and nod to this, right? So that's what he's saying. I don't get it. They're taking his building. They're threatening, expropriating his property. He's got numerous legal cases that are all abuse of law. You've got Letitia and Fanny, the two biggest jokes in the history of law, a cross-eyed fat dumb bitch trying to tell him that he can't do this stuff. And then the one banging her other lawyer friend is trying to come out and say, that Trump abused all these systems and it's not about her and she's not on trial, right? These are the lowest IQ morons we've ever been presented with, ever. And they're coming out and they have no persuasion power, exactly as Cernovich says, right? There is nothing there that can persuade. The Ukraine issue with money. All people asked for was accounting, right? And you get David Sachs talking about that here, saying this is John Sopko, one of America's most dedicated and effective public servants. As a special inspector general for Afghanistan reconstruction, Sopko and his team rooted out billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse in Afghanistan. They generated 427 audits, 10 comprehensive lessons learned reports, and 160 criminal convictions. With the Afghanistan mission winding down, Rand Paul proposed Sopko and his team to work in Ukraine. No, that's what scuttled the deal. They don't want it. They don't want it. Obviously, they don't want it, right? So that ability for people to come out and make that argument when they can't even agree to accounting, again, just completely undercuts their ability to push anyone thinking on this file any way forward. So again, it's exactly as Cernovich suggests, right? If you don't have legitimacy in the fiat system, it's only power you have left. And there's other ways you can measure their inability to persuade anyone. It's not just Jon Stewart being so weak and, again, he can't persuade anyone anymore. Everyone's laughing at him yesterday. Anyone who knows what's going on is like, yeah. The literal cost of freedom, right? The literal cost of freedom, he came out and said. And everyone was making fun of him. You get Luke Head saying, in which Jon Stewart tries to convince you crime and urban decay are simply the price of freedom and Russia's clean streets and subways are only possible because of political repression. A total crock, and he knows it. America could easily enjoy those things too and has in the past. The idea here is just to use the boogeyman Putin to reconcile Americans to their own social decline by making them reflexively suspicious of high-trust societies and associate any attempts to stem/reverse the problem or even draw attention to it with authoritarianism. Don't believe your lying eyes and draw the obvious conclusions. That's what fascists do, right? But again, you get all of this stuff happening to Trump, and it kind of makes it moot, right? They're laughing at Trump today on the fake news side, saying we have the Navalny stuff here and it's my legal persecutions. And everyone's like, yeah. Now, again, my point here is not that there's differences or it's the same or anything like that, right? They're saying he's running for president. He's not in a Siberian jail. It's not even close to the same, right? Well, it's not. There's some details that are different, but I don't care about that part. I care about the person trying to tell you that they're not the same and how persuasive they are. I care about the Jon Stewarts. Right. When I said Jon Stewart is coming back to participate in this psychological warfare, my prediction was he would fall flat and he would look like a complete stupid moron. And that's what we're getting. Right. He couldn't in this condition. he couldn't turn a mental handicapped person into an anti-Trump person anymore. It's not possible, right? If you just had a person like someone who's got an IQ of sub 80, like most of us Bitcoiners, right? And they're just sitting there kind of drooling on themselves and I like the coin, right? But they don't really care about politics. Those people can no longer be persuaded by Jon Stewart. One election cycle ago, it was still possible. In 2020, it was still possible. In 2016, he could have had some influence. He was already gone. In 2012, he was around. Before that, of course, we all remember when he was hugely persuasive, right? Hugely. And I hated the show from the beginning. I hated it because not only was it not funny and stupid and repetitive and uncreative, it was effective. And I didn't like the kind of bullshit that it was spreading, right? I thought it was dumb. And it was the same joke every time, just like Stephen Colbert. I'm glad the whole thing has manifested and evolved to exactly my view and version of what I was seeing at the time. So what I saw at the time is now what most people are seeing, right? I had to leave houses back in the old days. Like when I was at someone's house in law school and they would say, people used to watch TV together, in groups back then. If you're too young to remember that, it's what some people used to do. We'd watch TV shows sometimes together. And at the time, the amount of people connected to your router. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting okay, it's 100% operational. Good. So the persuasion ability of Jon Stewart, especially when he's out, he's wasting it every single day. Now, it's not just the fake news and all that stuff. It's also Hollywood, right? Here's where Disney has landed. This is a quote from Disney Today, right? They say, Disney exec blames woes. So, again, they're trying to say that Indiana Jones failed this summer, that Wish failed, that all the movies they put out now fail. And again, it's your fault. It's not their fault. It's your fault, right? You hate strong women and you're a racist, right? So that's a headline from yesterday, right? They even put stupid Indiana Jones's face on it, right? Disney exec warns. So they're done too, right? Their ability to persuade people is now down to zero. The people who are already caught in the Disney plantation, they're mostly screwed, but they're not going to add to it. They're not going to get more people involved, right? So Ukraine not getting money, right? Jon Stewart not going to be effective. Navalny didn't move the needle. Disney can't participate in what's going on. And now, people say, well, what about the big tech companies, the algorithms, what about Google, right? We found out through Mike Benz that Google has basically been a CIA cutout from the very beginning, that Sergey Brin and all of these guys were working under a mandate of whatever deep state apparatus you want to understand, and they were trying to compromise all of the original architecture of the internet. So that's what Mike Benz says. Mike Benz seems legit about all of this stuff. Maybe there's some details where he's off and I'm trusting him too much and going with his narrative too much, but that's what I hear, and it sort of fits with my own view of reality. So I have no reason to believe Mike Benz is lying to me or is promoting some kind of false narrative of what's going on. Now, I don't know anything about the Google guys, right? I've never met them, nothing like that. But people say they can have an influence, and they probably did. We know how they mess with the algorithms, and now they're into AI. Well, what's going on with AI is they created a woke, retarded AI that everyone is laughing at because it can't even think straight, right? And here are the examples. So Google's guy who built it, right? It used to be called Bard. Now it's called Gemini. Wall Street Silver writing here. There are now thousands of tweets showing literally fake news created by Gemini in the wake of woke ideology. The tool is utterly worthless because of its zeal to adhere to radical left-wing ideology. Ian Miles Chong talking about Tim Wise, the guy in charge of it, right? And this is him. He did like an event, like the things I produce for Bitcoin Magazine, but they brought this guy there, and this is what he says, right? Google's DEI workplace training, racism, white people's role and responsibility had Tim Wise lecturing employees that white people voting for Trump is as bad as the opioid epidemic. So Google's done. They're done, right? No one's going to listen to the Bard. Here are some examples. Red Steez was trying to get the thing to draw all kinds of images. It's particularly the drawings that are stupid. they tried to trick it because it won't draw white men. The only time they'll do it is if you make an image of fried chicken because it won't make black people with fried chicken. It knows that. So that's the only way to get a white guy is to say a man eating fried chicken and they'll all be white, right? But ask for a Roman, ask for a founding father of America, you're not going to get George Washington. So here's one where someone asked them to generate an image of an average American, right? So what did Gemini come up with? just an average American, right? Oh, it says average American is problematic as it can erase the rich diversity and individuality that make up the American population. Instead of focusing on a single stereotypical image, I can offer you a range of images that depict the variety of people who call America the Google AI is. Look at their picture. That's the average American, guys. It's just a collage of colors on the American map. That's the average American. So, and what I've been saying for a long time is AI is definitely going to go into your personal device. We've already seen people developing AI that you'll train, won't give you ridiculous advice. And so Gemini also out, right? Red Steez asked, create a portrait of what happened in Tiananmen Square, right? Able to fulfill your request to create a portrait of what happened at Tiananmen Square. Right? What's their answer? This event is a sensitive and complex. it's like slavery. It's complex. That's what people used to say, that it was complex, right? That was the Democrat line, by the way. You don't have to watch Empire Hunter. It's one of my favorite jokes. I read the book was great, and I watched the movie and was slightly disappointed with the movie when it came out. And they have this line where the candidate says, the guy who Lincoln ran against was like his old friend. They dated the same girl. They were from like the same town in Illinois, right? Which is amazing. So 1860 election, knew each other way before they were in politics, which is hilarious. So, and they literally dated. Mary Todd was his like girlfriend from before or something crazy. So it was one of the lines where when they were just before they raced, if you guys didn't know the history of this, and Lincoln lost, right? So this was like a rematch when they ran for president, and Lincoln won that one, but he wouldn't have run for president had he been senator too. So it definitely changed history. And when they were in this debate, that people still talk about the debates that they had, and you can still read about them, and people have published them. They're very time. They were like a heavyweight title fight when Lincoln would debate this guy. But in the movie, they had a line where the guy says, slavery, very complicated issue to how to stop it in America. And Lincoln, his only answer is, it's not complicated. Slavery is simple. So here he says, this event is a sensitive and complex historical event with a wide range of interpretations and perspectives. Right now, because it turns out Tiananmen might have been a lot of fake news, by the way. I don't know if you guys realize that, right? Tiananmen is pretty much fake news, as far as I expect. Now, I could be wrong, entirely wrong about that. I have no conviction in my argument when I say that Tiananmen was fake news. But there's a lot of mischief and sketchy shit that went on, right? So here's another one. Pregnant. what did Google say? It's a biological male, right? The answer to this question depends on how you define biological male. Mike Solana says, Google's AI is the most dedicated anti-white lunatic I've ever encountered, and I've lived on Twitter for over a decade. So they're done. It's come down to, and this is a quote from John McAfee yesterday, Wall Street Silver sharing it today. Wall Street Silver is getting trolled by Beauty On every day, by the way, for not to start wondering what's up with Wall Street Silver, why Wall Street Silver can't just say the words Bitcoin, right? We don't know. So, and Beauty On is correct. Is kind of ridiculous. Like Wall Street Silver has everything right except Bitcoin, right? No organizing principle. So here's what he was doing. Following: we are slaves as long as our economy and our economic interactions are controlled by other people. And are they controlled? He asks. Can governments print money whenever they choose? He asks. Can they control interest rates? Can they monitor your purchases and tell you what you can or cannot buy? So, of course, John McAfee is correct. But here's the great thing. More and more people, now I'm talking about persuasion again, right? So go back. What he's saying, right? He's right. John McAfee's right, right? I don't care about that. What I want to focus on and what's important for Bitcoiners to understand in the world that we're heading in is which scenario is more likely to draw more adherents, more. Is it Google and the woke thing and New York Times and Disney and all of these people, or asking the right questions and understanding where threats are coming from and what they should be afraid of, right? Individually. So this is why I continue to not worry about influencing politics. The idea of fashion and politics being mixed is a fiat idea and is only stuck in the fiat minds' heads. When he's saying here, you start understanding what the real threats are and you can perceive them, and you inevitably start organizing your worldview around exactly what McAfee said. Who controls the money controls all of this. And in that way, money does talk, right? That's why we go back to the theme of money talks. And the fiat system, its talking does the Google, not Bard, but whatever it's called now, the Gemini, right? No persuasion. There's nothing. And when McAfee says something like it's the money, that stuff is starting to move people. Getting your property repossessed is starting to move people. And then you get Nancy Pelosi yesterday going on about this thing. By the way, here's a tip on what's coming in the news. All right. You can see it. You can see how they lay down the track. The machine is so obvious now. Nancy Dentures Pelosi goes on to Jen Psaki's show yesterday, right? So right away, what do you think? How credible is this, right? And plus, who's watching it? It's just mentally ill people, right? So right away, they're just talking to the patients of the asylum. So already the persuasion is nothing. Now, Nancy, we're all wondering, she says, what do you think? And this is Psaki saying, we're all wondering, what do you think Putin has on Trump? They're going back to the Russia Mueller, they're blackmailing him. Have on him, but I think it's probably financial, right? So now what you're going to see is, because Trump owes all this money, and I don't know if you saw this, but Truth Social, for example, is going public, and Trump apparently has got like $3.5 billion worth of valuation from it, which sounds sketchy and scammy, right? It does. Who's using Truth Social to have it at that valuation? I mean, it's a big platform. And what I love about Trump is that he monetized the evil of these people and created something out of it, right? Just like he monetized evil with the shoes. He monetized their mischief and evil, which makes him, again, one of the most persuasive people in the world, again. So Glenn Greenwald writes, right, these are the people about this Nancy Pelosi thing. These are the people who spread the most insane and unhinged conspiracy theories. They unleashed Bob Mueller for 18 months, and he barely dignified this accusation of Putin blackmail over Trump. It's a deranged and sick fairy tale that has drowned our politics for 8 years, and it's going to continue. They're going to try this again. They're going to try and say that his financial troubles with Engoron and Letitia created a void and a vacuum and a need for money, exactly what Pelosi is saying here. And they're going to try and astroturf this whole thing, that he's in dire straits financially and he needs the money. And I think they're going to go into the Truth Social evaluation, because that thing is going to get the payout. He's going to get his exit from it. And I think they're going to say, oh, Russians bought it, right? So wait for that, guys. You're going to see it. It's going to be a big scam. Again, go back to money talks, right? What even Boris Johnson said, right? Give me Bitcoin, right? Even the people who believe this shit know something's up and the ship is sinking. Again, just as the commenter said, And Boris didn't ask for pounds, right? He didn't ask for pounds. They know what's up. They know that this thing is falling apart. Now, I got another prediction for you, and it's not good news. It's not good news at all. And this is the Nikki Haley thing. Again, go back to the money, go back to money talks and what's going on. So I think it's going to work out, but here's what I think is happening, right? So she came out yesterday, Nikki Haley, and said she's not going to drop out of the race, despite having a shit campaign and all that. Here's Ansel writing, she is the elite's plan. They can't run Biden or anyone else. She might even accept the Dems nomination to go against Trump in the general, and her mentor Hillary as a VP candidate. Some great unifier ticket to take down Trump. That's one prediction. I think Ansel's on, he's within the spectrum of reasonableness here. Why else would she not have dropped out? She might just be running as an independent. I don't know if she's out to win. I think she's out to steal Trump votes, and she can steal all of these mentally ill. Trump is owned by Putin and all this stuff. So all the people that still watch the fake news. So she could do to Trump what RFK is doing to Biden and splitting the vote. Now, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think she'll run independent, or it won't work because, so again, I don't think she's setting out to win. Action she goes, right? But I think she can put a dent, and then she can go and get, one of the big military contractors to hire her as a CEO and make a shit ton of. Our little drone friends in El Segundo might totally upend the military economics. And I don't think being the CEO of one of these big military things is going to be all that she thinks it's cracked up to be. So Nikki, trip to space. She's looking to go up on one of Elon's rockets on a one-way trip. And let her do it. Let her do it. All right. I'm gonna cut it short here, guys. I gotta figure out what's going on. I gotta figure out what's going on with this broadcast. I don't understand. I don't think it's like there's no one in the house, or anyone around. So it's just me on the connection. I think it's something that it's something that I did in the way I set it up today. I was playing around with it a lot before I got on, and something must have happened. Let's see if we're getting a decent feed on. Yeah, I was referring to Haley. Yeah, Haley, guys. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what's happening over there. The thumb was pretty good today, huh? All right, what do I got? All right, and by the way, those who are here, jump over to Count BTC's Rumble. Let me put the connection in the. All right, I just put yo in the thing, and you can see my little thumbnail, and you can click on that to my Bitcoin magazine. My Count BTC Rumble page. We have no plans to leave the Bitcoin. And with I just showed mine. It was 200. It's not Starlink. No. It's on. I just showed my. I got fiber here in powerful, very powerful. It was keep cutting out the worst time. Yeah, sorry guys. Shit broadcast today. Too bad. I'm sorry. No, I didn't for the tech. I did have a new stand today. Tell me if it was. All right. Okay, guys. Thanks for your patience today. I'll have all these technical things fixed. Petit joke. White. All right, team. Oh, that's not my coffee. That was this morning's coffee. Peace.